Hey everyone, welcome to Star Quality. I'm your host Stevie, and we are talking about the Leo new moon that we are in right now. It is Sunday, August 4th. The new moon happened just a few hours ago this morning, early this morning. This was at 7:13 a.m. Pacific time. And I just wanted to show you the chart for the new moon, what we might be expecting from the energy today, and especially because we're going to have Mercury retrograde happen late tonight slash early tomorrow morning. So this is like a really great new moon to work with because it's very like last call for alcohol since we're about to have a lot of fuzzy, bumpy astrology come up for the rest of August. So this new moon is right on time for us to call in all of those really Leo principled things that we've been wanting to have in our orbit. So, firstly, thank you for supporting Star Quality. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. That really helps me in terms of my growth and for other people to find me. And if you are subscribed for free, you're going to get the first half of this episode. The second half will be paywalled for my paid subscribers who are joined in my third space. That's my community of folks who pay to support this work. So, basically, for the price of buy me a ice latte once a month. You get extra bonus content, full episodes, any paywalled subscriber only threads or notes or anything like that, and it just helps me keep creating this for you. So I'm doing this all on my own as a labor of love, and I am an astrologer who loves to talk about the stars, what's happening, what applicable things and actionable things we can do in our day-to-day life, and yeah, that's the show. So thank you for supporting and tell your friends. Also, on the Substack post, you can comment or heart. I know you know how the internet works, but if you have things to share astrologically or any insights, I'd love to hear it. This is an open conversation, and let me get the chart. So if you're listening on audio only, there is going to be video visuals for this with the chart. And I'm going to pull that up here in just a second, and we can really get into what this new moon has cooking for us. And it's really, yeah, I don't know. The lunations this all of 2024 have just been such loud chapter markers. I mean, they're always, our new moon and full moons are always going to be ripe with symbolism. But I feel like just because 2024 has been such a whirlwind year, it's just been really matching the story that's been unfolding in both society sort of things as well as in individuals' personal lives as well. Okay, we have the chart pulled up here. So this is the chart for the exact moment of the new moon. Just a reminder, a new moon is what happens when we have the sun and moon in the exact same spot. So new moons are when the moon appears totally dark. Full moon is when we have the most light on the moon. So just a quick reminder, just to clarify why new moons are important or what symbolically they represent is new beginnings. When the moon is in total darkness, there is no light. We're not seeing everything. We sort of have to go more internal and have some time to review. Where the full moon, I like to think of it as like where the full moon is casting the most light and we kind of can see everything. That's when we have the ability to clear out a bit more. But when the moon is really dark, we can kind of go, it's like almost like closing your eyes, right? And going just into your headspace and seeing what is coming up for you in terms of what you want to call in and cultivate and just put your energy into so that it can grow. And by the time we get to the next lunation or a full moon, we can see exactly that go from like an idea, right? Like the seed of a moment into actual reality. That's how I kind of like to think of it. So with this new moon, we have the Leo new moon happening at 12 degrees of Leo. This is the Los Angeles chart. So the rising sign is going to be different depending on where you are located. So don't get too caught up in it being a Cancer rising chart. That's just for where I'm located. Like if you're in New York, if you're in Australia, it's going to be different. So we have this Leo new moon, sun and moon coming together. And a really loud part of this new moon story is the support we're getting from Jupiter and Mars. So, why is that a big deal? When we have the solar power of Leo, which is really calling us into really just be ourselves, right? Leo is like many, it's interesting. Like Aries and Leo are very signs of self, and not that Sagittarius isn't, but of the fire signs, it definitely is about like the everybody, like the bigger picture. But Leo and Aries are really the signs of self, and Aries in this sort of like honoring self instincts, and like Leo in a more like a self preservation, where Aries is quick and cardinal and snappy. Leo is like, it's been described as like a bonfire. It's longer lasting. You put wood on it and stoke it, and it should last the night, right? Like you're not, it's not just a quick spark of a lighter. And then Sagittarius is more like a wildfire, meandering. It goes where the energy is flowing and goes where it's called. So this is like concentrated fire. I would suggest for this Leo new moon, this is like a really good time, especially since we're going to have Mercury retrograde start literally at the end of the day, of what in August do we want to refine? What is like a part of our story, whether that's in our artistic expression, because Leo is an artistic sign, or just in our confidence story. Like, where do we want to give a little more attention, devotion, and care to in the realms of long lasting passion and spark? I think if this has been a time where you've been like weighed with a lot of distraction and a lot of options, now Gemini loves distraction and options, especially Jupiter, which blows things up, which makes things bigger, and then Mars is just about our passions. But then there is an encouragement to stoke those fires longer with the Leo energy. And then also we're getting a nice trine, which is like a happy love beam from the North Node in Aries, which is like our destiny and purpose and the path we're even going on. So while the Gemini-ness does kind of support with the opposite of what I was just saying, of like all these ideas and all this stuff, there is this encouragement for maybe Leo to like rank them. Like, okay, first priority is, let's say, I'll just use myself as an example because that's astrology. First example is Substack. Like, I'm going to really concentrate and do my Substack thing. Second thing, okay, let's make a day a week for social media, TikToky things. And the third being, like studying. Like, oh, I need to like also carve out a day to continue my astrology learning and this. It's instead of waking up and be like, what the fuck am I supposed to do today? It's not bad that you have all these options that you want to tend to, but we do need to make sure that they're actually getting their proper care. Like Leo doesn't half-ass anything. And Gemini is really good at, having a lot of pots bubbling and having their mitts in a lot of different things. But also Leo really wants to see that they're going to they're on the right path. So I think this is encouragement instead of, it's like harnessing what can be sometimes scattered energy with Gemini, putting it into it like a contained on the prize vessel of Leo, and then making sure that all these things are working towards your ultimate alignment and path. Maybe things that you think are unrelated to with Gemini are going to be really focused with Leo time, because I think sometimes, especially if you're a creative person or a woo-woo person, if odds are you are, if you're here, there's this idea that like maybe parts of our story aren't related to what we're working on. Like if you're an astrologer, like who cares that I used to be a painter? It's like, well, what if you integrated your painting background into your astrology work? What if you painted natal charts for people? Like, let's not toss out our skills, because Gemini is such a skill based sign, and also with like our talent and lore that we have with Leo, because it's all working towards that path. There's a reason you went to, painting school, even though your path might later be being a tarot reader, right? Like maybe it's making your own tarot cards. So I think like there is, as August is this really like Mercury retrograde time of Mercury retrogrades is when we're really revisiting and reviewing. It doesn't mean we have to stop our lives. I discourage people. It happens 3 or 4 times a year, so you'd be stopping a lot. But this is really about refining, focusing, clarifying, and then also too, maybe if you have multiple skills and you don't want to integrate them, then maybe having really clear arenas and separatization, so people know what they're hiring you for, right? Or know what they are looking to come to you for. So it's not like a muddled experience. It's like, no, I do this and I do this, or like, no, I do these things integrated, and explaining why. Like, what is the reason that you're bringing whatever your gifts are? Because Leo is really about that we all have talents. We all have gifts that we give to ourselves, to our close friends and family and lovers, and also to the universe and society at large. So I think if you've maybe been feeling, like this year's been really funky, if it has, who hasn't felt it, sigh of relief, like, whew, it's really about knowing that you are special. We're all special, but let's get clear on what we know our strengths are, and not to be diminish the things that we've worked so hard to, train in or achieve. We don't have to just throw it away. Okay, let's look at the rest of the chart and what's going on. A big, since we're talking about Jupiter, another aspect that's happening to Jupiter is this square from Saturn. So Jupiter and Saturn are our social planets, where Mercury, Venus, and Mars are our personal planets. They're going to be the planets that affect more of us ourselves on a one as like, this is affecting me, Stevie, as an individual. Not that Jupiter and Saturn don't have their voice in the matter, but they do represent a lot of the times what we're experiencing more in our groups with other people, and just kind of like being a person more out in the world. So when we have a square from Saturn squaring Jupiter, it's not technically squaring Mars, but it is like still hitting this cluster corner. There is maybe themes that might come up during this new moon that are about the pressure from other people as well. There might be some outgrowth of some people